Abbott and Barry. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Howard in the background. We got the music, 60s music playing. Just give them a history lesson on the drag boats, guys.
I want a history lesson with that thing you brought in over there.
Well, that's Super Mouse, otherwise known as the Sicilian Bandit 2. That's Freddie's second one.
You ever run it?
No, I haven't run it yet.
Why not?
When Bonfire is ready, it'll be ready.
Thanks a lot. You know when that's going to be.
Oh yeah, I wish. No, it's almost ready. It's supposed to have an ejected Chevy, according to the old ad. Just kind of go with it. This is Don Edwards.
Okay.
This is Barry McGowan, two legends from the 1960s, racing wood pallets when drag boats were wood. And you guys just tell us a little bit how it was and competing and how it was driving these.
What were the what was the horsepower like back then?
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, on gas it was about 800,
I mean,
and on fuel it was about 15
Or more.
or more.
Depending on how good you were at pouring fuel in the tank.
Right. This is my boat. I had one like this in the 60s. I found this in a barn about 7, 8 years ago, and in the Fremont area. I had one just like it in the 60s, and we ran it in the drag. Had the record 136 miles an hour, and I broke it up at Oroville, California, and we beat the Don Perdot, had the record before me. So it's a wood Hallett with a blown Chrysler in it, and that tells a little bit about it down there.
So when did they switch from wood to fiberglass?
In the early 50s. Early 50s.
What, was it the early 50s?
Yeah, well, probably say the late 50s would be better, but fiberglass became predominant in probably the early 60s because it was a lot cheaper and didn't take a whole lot of talent to build them. You could always find one that was already done and then copy it. So that's what a lot of people did do. There's very few people that build an original one. I happen to have an original one that I'm building right now out of wood. It's a duplicate of the one I had back in the early 60s, and it's going to be identical to the other one. And soon it will be done, put it into the shows, and give everybody a chance to see what it was really like. We use all spruce for the frames inside of the boat, and then we use a marine grade birch wood on the outside, and then it gets all glassed after it's finished, and then after that it gets painted, and we put all the engine and the mechanical in it, and it's ready to go.
Is there a huge weight difference between wood and fiberglass?
Yeah, the fiberglass can be a little bit lighter.
A little bit lighter.
Yeah, and because you can make it lighter and you can make it stronger, and that's one of the reasons it's more popular. Plus, it's cheaper to build. The wood boats are great. We all love them because of their value as far as the nostalgia part of it, but it's very labor intensive. And right now, there's only maybe 3 or 4 people that I know of in Southern California that have the ability to do the same thing in the wood. And fortunately, we've got 2 or 3 up here today. But
Wow.
These are classic. There are not many of them around. Rich Hallett built it.
Well, I'm Bob Garner,
Oh, hey, okay, Bob.
and I'm the one that owns the Super Glide. We raced this 69 and 70, and in 70 we were High Point champion. We went 144 and a quarter on gasoline. It was sponsored by Dick Fraze that owns Super Glide, the coating. I quit racing after 10 years in 71. I pulled my engine out, and Dick sold the boat. And 8 years ago, through the V-Drive Club, finding the members that had Sanger Hydros, I found the same boat after the 4th owner. And we stripped it down to the metal flake that it was before, put the target on it. I kept 2 of my blown motors. And so now I take it around to Cackle Fests and boat shows and car shows. I had mostly I was with the Flat Bottom, which is a Miller, and I raced it for 64 to 68. I had 2 world's record, and I was 4-time national champion with it. and I don't have it anymore, but I got another motor at home in the garage that I like to put in it, you know, or if I ever find it. But back in the 60s, like Don and Barry knows, we were racing anywhere from 27 to 35 races a year, so we had a chance to do a lot of racing back then. And they call us pioneers now because there were so many new innovations that weren't available that we had to come up with to go fast, you know, and win. And so now, like I say, we're pioneers at our age.
And we're having fun at it today.
Yes, and Don was the innovator of the Drag Boats of the 60 book, and it's been a real crowd pleaser. And he did the best he and Liddy could on making it up, and also Bob.
You want to see a cover of the book?
Yeah, I would love it.
Yeah, I'll get that. Just a second.
Phil Fauntleroy, Lifeline Jackets, come up with the parachute part of it, and I say they came up in maybe '67. We had them in flat bottoms and then also in the hydros. Right now they have what they call a whirl away, where you take your foot off the throttle and everything freewheels, which is a safety feature, but you need a parachute to slow you down. Before, all we had was to back off on the throttle and let the propeller pull you down, you know, to slow you down. A lot of guys, we had different jackets that we tried. Some guys, they had a parachute strapped to their back, so if they fell out of the boat, it would, well, sometimes the parachute would come out while they're driving down the race course, and it would just pull them out of the boat. You know, so like I say, this is a lot of innovations that were coming about back in the 60s that we were trying.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
This is the book, the only book on drag boats. It is Drag Boats of the 60s. And my name is Don Edwards and Barry McCowan, and text by Larry Swabenland. And of course Larry was he was the kingpin of the drag boats. And it was a team effort. You know, Mr. Garner put a lot into it. We all did. Anyway, it's the only book on drag boats of the 60s. It retails for $29.95. You can buy it at Barnes & Noble or any bookstore or from my website.
Got 126 pages of it. A lot of history.
A lot of history.
A lot of
Pictures.
history, but it's the only book on drag boats.